Hi everybody, my name's Jamie. I'm about 40 hours into Assassin's Creed at the time of making this video, and there are a lot of activities that I enjoy in it. As I've been playing through though, there's one thing that really stood out to me as something I can turn the game on and do even if I don't really want to play it. That thing is raiding. Raiding in Assassin's Creed Valhalla consists of jumping onto your longboat, sailing down the rivers of Saxon England, and stopping every now and then to pillage a small settlement or camp. It's something that Vikings did all the time back then, stealing things that they needed because it was way too difficult to put the time or effort in to actually get them themselves. I think that there are two main aspects of what makes raiding so much fun in this game. The first ties into the overarching story and experience. All players have this once they arrive in Saxon England. Your settlement, Ravensthorpe, starts off as a tiny little hamlet and needs to be built up to become a larger part of the surrounding area and therefore England. With more buildings, you attract more settlers and you unlock new amenities, so naturally it makes sense to build more structures. There are even entire quest lines that are locked behind certain buildings until you've constructed them, so it's in your interest to get more out of the story to actually build these things. Where raids come into play is with the resources you need to build those structures. These are supplies and raw materials, and you'll begin your time in Ravensthorpe with a chunk of each, but they run out pretty quickly after I'd say, well, I think it's 2 or 3 buildings that are required for a main quest to actually advance the game. To get more of them, you need to raid towns and settlements all around England. The game gives you a few areas that are marked as raidable positions along the rivers of Saxon England, though some of them are inland. They're represented as red axes on the map, and they provide a pointer to players to tell them exactly where to pick up the resources required for further advancing the settlement. So, if you want to do that, you can just look at the map, find some red axes, and go there. It's this process of raiding and then building that provides a gameplay loop that I think is a big part in what makes raids such an enjoyable aspect of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Sure, managing your settlement is fun, but it's not what you play Assassin's Creed for. Raiding provides that combat and exploration experience that's so essential to the series. That's where we get into the second part of why raiding is so much fun in this game, and it's split between 2 sub-aspects. The first of these is exploration. If you want to get more resources so you can build up your settlement, you need to be exploring the game world for more places to raid. You might get a few of these resources by raiding random locations as you sail along the rivers, but it's these key points of interest that Ubisoft has pointed out to us that are actually where the glut of loot is found. If you raid the red crosses along the rivers or inland, you're going to get a decent chunk of resources and supplies that you can then turn into an actual building and potentially unlock a new amenity at your settlement. Exploration has always been a key part of the AC series, from our time with Altair collecting synchronization points to covering every map as Ezio, and finally everything you unlock with Bayek and Cassandra and Eivor by exploring the map. It's all part of the DNA of what makes each game so enjoyable, and it's what the rest of the components of each game are built on top of. The next sub-aspect is of course combat. Aside from the huge set-piece sieges in the game, raids are the most bombastic battles in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. When you start one, your crew is going to rally to your side and start fighting any and all enemies in the area. You're actively encouraged to then set fire to as many thatched roofs as possible, and stealing everything in sight is the name of the game. This is completely untethered carnage, and it's so much fun. So few AC games provide this level of freedom to effectively war with small groups of enemies with the force of your own army behind you. With that said, there are definitely moments like it in the previous games in the series, so the final mission effectively of AC Brotherhood is one that comes to mind, but even there, it's more of Ezio being a one-man army. Until AC Valhalla, these things have just been flashes in the pan. If you think about AC Revelations, you could do the tower defense minigame bits, but while that had you managing an army, you were very much still. There wasn't very much movement going on, and it's just so completely different to the feeling of being that character and shouting for everyone to go and just kill, pillage, and murder and steal, and then managing that as you go, just like helping your mates as you run, and then 2 of you unlocking a door, killing everyone inside, opening a chest, gathering some loot, scaring the priests, running off, doing the same, setting fire to a few things along the way. It's just so much fun and so completely unique. This brings me on to the final part of what I believe makes raids so much fun in this game. They're a type of repeatable content that you can do without needing to advance the story or pay too much attention. They're the equivalent of replaying missions in an MMO like Destiny 2 for regular rewards that don't really mean anything. Except in AC Valhalla, the rewards are meaningful in terms of your settlement's progression. I've turned on AC Valhalla so many times, sat there and decided, actually, I don't want to do anything serious. I don't want to do a quest. I don't want to pay attention to the story and do a main mission. And I don't want to do side activities that see me travelling around the game world and doing world events, because I just haven't got the mental capacity to actually take any of it in. Instead, I just sit there and raid. It's an activity that I know I love, and in the back of my mind I know that the resources I'm gaining from just these hours of pillaging places will help me later when I want to pursue the story, when I want to build stuff in the settlement and then follow those quests, or, you know, when I hit a point in the story and it says your settlement needs to be a bit bigger, if that's a thing, then I can rest easy because I've got all these resources. Even if you're just getting silver, it just means that when you come to needing to buy something or do something else in the game, you actually have quite a lot behind you already. I firmly believe that all of these reasons became evident to Ubisoft very quickly while they were working on this game. That's why next month we're getting the River Raid update. With this update we're getting 3 new maps to raid across, and to top it off, the raids will be repeatable across those maps. I don't know exactly how it will work, but I imagine there will be 3 new locations that you can sort of longboat to, and then within those locations you could raid everything, and then you'll return and you'll sort of topple up, you'll top up your rewards, you'll total up your rewards is what I mean, see everything, and then if you wanted to you could go to another location, do all the raids, or just go back to the same location and raid it again. It might be on like a weekly rotation or something, so you don't earn too much at once, but I think Ubisoft will probably just let us do it all the time because raiding is that much fun. Alongside all the new maps, we're also getting new buildings for the settlement, so obviously they're going to require more resources. There might even be rare resources that we have to do certain things in each map in order to build. So I anticipate there being some stuff around that, and maybe they'll even build upon that in later updates in the game. But it's very exciting all the same, because it's just taking like the most fun thing in the game and making it even more fun and giving you more of a reason to play it. Anyway, if you haven't played AC Valhalla yet, raiding is a great excuse to give the game a go. If you are playing it and you haven't jumped into raids too deeply yet, please take this video as a reason to just dive all the way in and never look back. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.